Well, we covered a lot of ground in my last video on how to get a job in regulatory affairs, but guess what? We're not done. I've got a special guest in the industry who's going to give you even more tips to land that job in regulatory affairs. So let's go. Hey guys, it's Brian back at you with another video where my goal is to help you create a career and life you'll be proud of. Now, if you want more tactics and tips on your job search, or maybe you're looking to grow your career, then definitely hit that subscribe button. I'm all about giving you guys the very best insight and strategies from my experience behind company lines. I did a video on how to get a job in regulatory affairs, and if you haven't watched it, definitely check it out after you watch this one. But to add to it, I actually have a special guest for you guys, and I want you to meet Karandeep Singh. We connected a while back over LinkedIn, and Karandeep is an absolute wealth of knowledge. He's actually a consultant in regulatory affairs and quality in the medical device sector. And I know a lot of you guys who are watching are actually really curious about this industry. So Karandeep's going to be adding up more tips and advice that goes above and beyond what I shared in my other video. And it's really going to help you give a little bit more of an advantage to landing that job in regulatory affairs. So a huge thanks to Karandeep for taking the time to do this. And you can actually check out his LinkedIn in the description down below. So guys, enough of me talking, let's turn it over to Karandeep.
Would it not be brilliant if there were groups of professional organisations specialising within regulatory affairs? Somewhere where you can interact with professionals in the field both in person and online? Well, I have some good news for you. TOPRA, the Organisation for Professionals in Regulatory Affairs, and RAPS, Regulatory Affairs Professional Society, are two of the most popular global organisations for professionals in this field. They hold educational webinars, conferences and networking events both in person and online for regulatory professionals across all different fields. However, unlike similar organisations in other sectors, they cater to all experience levels, all the way from students to industry veterans, allowing you opportunities both to join and become an active member in the community, allowing you easy access to professionals to network with and learn from. Within both of these organisations, you can find specific collections and special interest groups in which you should engage to further your knowledge in your chosen area of regulatory affairs. By attending these groups and meetings, you'll widen your network and automatically start building relationships with industry leaders of which you can contact in the future for potential opportunities. TOPRA also hold an annual symposium where you find professionals from all different experience levels, including myself, and companies seeking people just like you. If you do decide to attend in 2020, which I highly recommend, don't be afraid to approach me for some advice. Another great way to get involved in the industry is through volunteering. Although you may not have experience to get hired immediately, you will have many different soft skills, which will be valuable to different companies, which you can then exchange for experience within regulatory affairs and further your knowledge. Although pharmaceutical and biotech companies may not have graduate schemes or programs, many would happily take on volunteers. The experience you gain from this will be valuable, and who knows, if you impress them enough, they may even offer you a paid position. The best way of going about this is to find trade shows or even university events in your local area, of where the companies you are interested in are going to be present. Then introduce yourself to them. You can then contact them directly via LinkedIn or via email also, but you stand a much better chance of landing a position if you actually meet them in person. TOPRA and RAPS, like I mentioned before, also offer volunteer opportunities which you can apply for online via their website. My next tip is education. Many of the different rules and regulations regarding regulatory requirements, or at least in the case of Europe, are freely available online in multiple different languages. Many different authorities globally, even in cases where they don't publish this information, have free guidance on their website. Make use of this valuable information to gain a better understanding, as it helps you stand out during conversation, whether it be during interviews or when talking to industry professionals. One of the best regulations to look into at the moment in the regulatory network is the European Medical Device Regulation. It was a regulation which was due to come into force May 2020, but has now been delayed for another year. Any medical device company out there who sells into the EU needs people who understand this regulation well and implement it. So it will benefit you to have this knowledge, as industry veterans have also had to invest a lot of time into this new regulation to learn and how to apply it. But hold on, you might say to me. My degree background or experience is within a different sector to medical devices. Not a problem. My bachelor's and master's degrees were both in pharmaceuticals. However, I've worked almost solely within medical devices since. Likewise, I've known many different people who have switched from pharmaceutical or consumer goods into medical devices. My point here to you is all forms of regulatory experience are good. And if you want to get into medical devices, it is never too late to make the switch. Alright Brian, back to you.
So thanks Karandeep. Now if you haven't seen my first video on how to get a job in regulatory affairs, then you can check out the video right here, take it all in, watch these videos a couple times and absorb all the information and then build out your plan to go after the career you want. Guys, if you want more videos on regulatory affairs, there's a playlist right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a good day. Cheers.